I am now sending down to you what the Father has promised. Stay in the city then until you are clothed with the power from on high. With these words, Jesus invites us into the mystery of today's celebration, his ascension to his Father in heaven, by linking it to what we will celebrate next Sunday, the coming of the Holy Spirit upon the first Christian community gathered in prayer. In linking these two events, the Ascension and Pentecost, Jesus also invites us to see them as the outflowing, according to the Father's plan, of the great Easter mystery, the suffering, death, and resurrection of Jesus. It really is impossible to explain the depths of this great mystery in just a few words, but perhaps at the beginning might sound something like this. Through his life, death, and resurrection, Jesus frees us from the power of sin and enables us, by his grace, to receive this gift of salvation. In his ascension to his Father in heaven, Jesus takes his place in the kingdom of his Father, and in doing so, prepares a place for us, so that where he is, we too might also be. In a unity of love with his Father, Jesus sends the gift of the Holy Spirit to his community, the church, so that the Spirit might lead the community to the fullness of the truth and remind them of all that Jesus said and did. In the great mystery, we might almost say the strange mystery of God's free decision, we here in the cathedral find ourselves numbered among those who, in this archdiocese, in this state, and in this country of Australia, are the inheritors and the beneficiaries of this great gift of the Holy Spirit, who from his first sending by the Father and the Son at Pentecost has been leading the church into the fullness of the truth and reminding the church, that is, reminding all of us of all that Jesus said and did. What this means, it seems to me, is that we today, in communion with that first community, gathered in prayer and in hope in Jerusalem, in communion with God's faithful people throughout the last 2,000 years, who in their own time and place strove to listen and respond to the voice of the Spirit, and in communion with our brothers and sisters in the Catholic Church spread right across the face of the earth today, are called to the same task: to open our minds and our hearts to the power of the Spirit, who continues to breathe among us, leading us as members of God's church always into the fullness of the truth, and reminding us of all that Jesus said and did. This, for me, partly explains why the bishops of Australia took the surprising and perhaps courageous decision to convene a plenary council for the Church in Australia, and to have at the heart of our preparations for the council the question so many of you have been pondering: what do you think God is asking of us in Australia at this time? And also to make some words from the book of Revelation. Listen to what the Spirit is saying, to make those words the key theme and the driving force of the long preparation for the Council, whose formal sessions will be held in October next year and in May of 2021. Today, in our Archdiocese, we are marking an important moment in this long and important journey. The initial listening and dialogue stage of the Council has concluded. We have received responses from over 220,000 people across the country. And of course, as you would expect, there are many different, inspiring, hope-filled, yearning, and yes, at times, divergent and conflicting voices emerging. As the Church in Australia, all of us now share in the vital and challenging task of trying to catch the voice of God, speaking in and through the voices of his people. It is to this which we now, as the people of God, need to turn. It is this which those overseeing the work of the Council have called the listening and discernment stage of our preparations. If the listening and dialogue stage was an invitation to be open to the work of the Holy Spirit in our lives and in our hearts and minds, so too, and I believe even more so, is this new stage of discernment also calling for these open hearts and minds. As I reflect on the words of Jesus in today's Gospel about the coming of the Holy Spirit in power, it seems to me that we are facing both a complex and an exciting challenge. Firstly, we are being called to let the Holy Spirit remind us of all that Jesus said and did. Before all else, we are a community of disciples of Jesus. It is Jesus who is our way and our truth and our love. Fidelity to this way and this truth and this life, especially as found in the inspired pages of the Gospels, must govern all that we do and say. We are also being called to live out of the richness of the Church's journey over 2,000 years, as the Holy Spirit has been leading us ever more into the fullness of the truth. As we listen to God, speaking to us through the pages of the Gospels, through the life, death and resurrection of Jesus, we will also need to listen to God speaking to us through the story of God's journeying with his church over 2 millennia. And then we are also being called to listen to what the bishops at the Second Vatican Council called the joys and the hopes, the griefs and the anxieties of the people of our age. The good news of Jesus Christ has the power to respond to every anxiety and every hope in our own hearts, in the hearts of our brothers and sisters in the faith, and in the hearts of people everywhere. Whether we, as the Church of Christ, have yet managed to find the right way to share this message of life in a way that the people of our time can appreciate and understand is an urgent question for the Plenary Council. And we must face the possibility, to the extent that we haven't yet found that way, we have not yet fully listened to the voice of God's Spirit in the Church. Fidelity to Jesus Christ, the face of the God of mercy, made known to us in the Gospels. Fidelity to the guiding presence of the Holy Spirit through the long life and the still today of the Church, leading us into the fullness of the truth. And fidelity to the people of our own time who have a right to have the gospel of hope preached to them in a way that they can understand. This ultimately must be the goal of the Plenary Council. As we all together enter now into this crucial moment of listening and deep discernment, as we try, as I said before, to catch the voice of God speaking in and through the voices of his people, I want to invite you all this morning to play your part, especially through prayer, and also, where possible, through engagement with the ongoing process of discernment, so that our community of faith, like the first community gathered in Jerusalem at Pentecost, will wait in prayer and expectation for the power from on high, the Holy Spirit, who will continue to lead the church into the fullness of truth and remind us of all that Jesus said and did.